So, what's the difference between me having strained eyes, I go to bed and wake up in the morning fine? What's the difference between that? Like, what's actually what is the outcome? What does dry eye disease actually look like? How bad is it? How can what are the symptoms? Can I lose my vision ultimately? What's
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. So broadly speaking, it's one of the most common eye conditions. So one of the most common complaints in any eye care setting, and people will come in, is like, oh, my eyes are watering, or my eyes are dry, or there's some level of discomfort. And depending on where you place the needle, and we're working a lot to pinpoint what dry eye disease is, because if I ask this question, have you ever had dry-ish eyes, then yes, everyone will have dry eye disease. It's not like that. So we're trying to develop a definition, but by the current definitions we have, 30, 30 to 40, 50% of the world's population will have some form of that at a certain point in their lives. Um, well, for most people, it's mild to moderate. So at the end of the day, they'll be like, gosh, my eyes are killing me. Like, this is just, I just need to get some shut eye. For some people, it can get quite severe. And it's a chronic progressive condition that has no cure. And in these people, this dry disease is associated with anxiety, with depression. We have patients who are suicidal. Its impact has been likened to angina or dialysis. So so it can be quite debilitating because you literally can't open your eyes. You need to keep your eyes shut because of that burning sensation you'll feel if you keep your eyes open for 2 minutes now. They'll sting and burn, and they'll do everything possible to make you shut your eyes, right? So if your eyes are acting up that bad, you are confined to your home. You can't work. You can't leave the house. You're effectively blind, if you will. And we've seen plenty of patients who experience just that, be it in their 60s or in their 20s or 30s. These are more rare conditions, but we're seeing more of them. And what
Mm.
ultimately happens in these younger people who present these signs of damage, because one part is the symptoms you're experiencing, and as I said, we have questionnaires that we fill out. It's like how often, how frequent, how intense, when do you get this, all sorts of questions. You get a score, and depending on where that score sits, you're more likely to have it or not. And then also there's clinical signs where we actually see damage on the front surface of the eye that will often resolve with a good night's sleep, but in cases where this is pathologic, it doesn't. And one of the main features we're looking at is the what we call the meibomian glands. So you have sebaceous glands on your skin that produce the oils.
Mm.
Around your eyes, um, at your lid margins, you have what we call meibomian glands. So not sebaceous glands, but meibomian glands. So these produce meibum, which is a different kind of oil than what you need for the skin. Because on your eye surface, you don't just need tears that we know from crying, which is water, and your tears are 90% water with a whole bunch of other stuff, but also oil. That oil is essential. It seals in that liquid, and it also lubricates the eye surface every time you blink. 10,000 blinks each
Mhm.
day is about 400 meters of travel your upper lid does over the eye surface each day. 400 meters of travel. So you need good lube, right? Um, those meibomian glands tend to drop out with age, kind of like with teeth again, which is why in your 60s and 70s you're more likely to see people developing dry eye disease. What we start to understand, and this is a hypothesis, but there's increasing evidence pointing from different directions that this is happening, is that these meibomian glands are maintained by the blinking action. So you need to close your lids fully and for those 10,000 times each day. If you don't, because what happens when you blink, a tiny amount, so these glands go all along your upper eyelid. They're kind of like fins, like teeth, all along your upper and lower eyelid, and they have openings around the lid margin. In order to express that oil that's needed on your eye surface, you need to blink fully, and that squeezes a tiny bit of oil onto the eye surface, and the blinking action spreads it. If you don't blink, no oil gets squeezed. Now, if you do that, if you do that for long enough time, over days and months and years, those glands start to go, well, I'm not needed. And then they start dropping out. And that dropout is irreversible. They don't come back. So these are tiny cells that produce these oils that either through lack of use or through obstruction, and that might happen with Again, with lack of blinking, all those byproducts are not washed away, and the entire environment on the eye and around the eye gets changed, and those fine openings that allow the oil to come out, those pores, if you will, get blocked. So the oils get trapped in there, the pressure increases, and that pressure kills off these sensitive cells that produce the oils, and they're not coming back. There's no growth back, kind of like our teeth. They don't grow back, right? Unless we're sharks. So this is what we're seeing in young people, is that amongst populations who do, or who at least report a lot of screen time, we see more dropout than in others, and unexpectedly high levels of gland dropout for their age.